please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? On a recent episode of LOLCal Live, we got some rather interesting information concerning a lie being told by Boogie2988, thusly dubbed, going forward, Cancer2988. In fact, you should change your channel name to that. I think it's a great idea. In more recent videos we've done covering you, you have discussed your illnesses, your lack of health, your deteriorating health, where things are going wrong and how you are not going to do anything to improve it. On a recent episode of LOLCal Live, you got called out for something, and we have some clips that were shared about. I'm going to go through some tweets and those clips so you can see why there is literally no sympathy left for Cancer2988. Muta appears that according to Boogie's most recent stream, at the point this was tweeted, ongoing, the man has lied about having cancer for sympathy. Samuel. Boogie got destroyed by Destiny on stream for allegedly faking having cancer. I'll reread the first part. Cancer2988 got destroyed. Cancer wouldn't show Keemstar or anyone any form of medical records and would rather news accounts state that he faked having cancer than share any information. Honestly, a brutal watch. Now, Destiny was doing a stream, I think, on Kick. We do have a part of that, because he joined a Discord call and then this, which is where it got really interesting. Destiny had done a bit of digging on this. We're going to go to the video though from Samuel first, about Cancer2988, and then we're going to continue with the tweets, and obviously more clips.
Cancer. Would rather Dexerto lead Boogie lies about cancer than to hand this over to you pieces. That's just. I'd rather do that. I'd rather do that. Go ahead, print it, Dexerto. Go ahead and print it.
Can you get your patient portal up on your phone and like send it to Tommy?
I'm not going to. Sure,
he's never doing that. He does not have a cancer diagnosis. There's 0% chance he has one.
And you won't prove it?
No.
You won't prove it?
Now the audience had tried to raise money, tens of thousands, for Boogie to prove it, and he refused. Now, don't forget here, he did a $10,000 crypto scam last week. This week he was offered close to 5 times that, and he still said no. Even if it was proven false, he would have got 50 grand out of it. As if his career couldn't get any lower, it's unlikely at this point he's going to bring it back up. Once you start lying about your health, you justify the hatred, the vitriol, the anger you receive. Metica was a great example of that. We played a clip of his absolute rage, and rightfully so. This guy, Metica, is renowned for laughing at things. This is where he drew the line because of what it's doing to him. Boogie's just lied, and he's not going to prove anything.
Rather, you go ahead and print it.
If this is true, and you lied about cancer, this is the biggest scandal on the internet.
And it's not, but go ahead and print it anyway. Go ahead and print it anyway.
It's going.
I pretty much prove it. None of you
Fucking
I said this
prove
2
it.
years ago, and I'm not doing it today. Go right ahead. Print it. Print it the way it is. Go right ahead. I'm okay with it.
I don't know why this is the hill that Boogie has chosen to stand and fight on, as it were. I really don't. But he has, and he's committed to it, and I'm not entirely sure what the logic could be argued to be either.
Okay, so I guess just to wrap up, because we don't want to take all your guys' time tonight, so just as a couple things, right? So the story as laid out, if you look up secondary polycythemia versus polycythemia vera, all of the leading things that Boogie talks about leading to his condition are consistent with secondary polycythemia, not the mutation that would cause polycythemia vera. The things that Boogie says that his doctor wants him to check for afterwards, like doing a sleep study, are consistent with secondary polycythemia, not
And
primary
also
polycythemia. And the fact that he says, the fact that he says that he had the blood markers or something to confirm it 2 years ago, but is now getting a biopsy for secondary confirmation, even though he says he doesn't have the money for medical bills, but I guess now that he does have money, he's going to waste all of it on biopsying things that are already confirmed, or at least confirmed enough that he wanted to talk about it publicly for 2 years ago, and then use it to fundraise the money that he now has so that he can do the biopsy that I don't even think he's doing, by the way. I don't think he's actually doing that.
I'm going to apologize for the length of that clip, but I didn't feel it right to interrupt. Destiny proving the point of the distinction between two separate conditions, where Boogie is wasting money proving the first, yet he has more likely got the second. Or is it the second and the first? The less severe. Let's go with that. Okay? Context is key, and I firmly believe in that. Destiny's done a fantastic job in this instance of proving a point about how disingenuous and intellectually challenged Boogie has been with this, wasting money when it came to his health, at the expense of his health. Boogie falls in line with some of the dainty queens we've covered before. The only thing missing is a failed Ozempic journey.
So Destiny, to summarize,
if you wanted to disprove it, all he has to do is show a private party this particular medical thing, and yeah, it would be.
To summarize, Destiny, you're basically saying he's kind of unlucky he doesn't have cancer.
I mean, for this particular case, yeah. If you want, I'll do this.
In there, you might have heard Boogie say he's not going to share his medical records. No one's asking for him to share all his medical records, just the part about cancer, because this has now become a public discussion. His reputation is in a rather precarious position. Can it sink further? Of course it can. But Destiny has managed to prove, with what is publicly known, that your diagnosis is not what you've claimed it to be. And that's a point. Which is why Tommy is also quite right to mock you in the way he has.
If Boogie can confirm, that he has polycythemia vera, and he actually has like a doctor confirmation of the blood cancer, I'll throw $5,000 towards his medical treatment. I'll make that personal pledge right now.
No fuck.
Hey, you need the money.
You're not seeing my medical records for 20, not for 50. You're not seeing my medical records.
$5,000.
$1 Million Man once said, everybody has a price. According to Cancer2988, that is not the case when it comes to one's medical records. Destiny highlighting one issue that you could easily debunk. You wouldn't have to show all your records, just that part alone. A doctor's note also would suffice. Cancer2988 though has gone, no, I don't have a price for this. This is private, which leads me to believe that Cancer2988 is lying about something else. Because that is the one takeaway I immediely got from it.
I said this a year ago.
Okay, so I just want people to remember in the future then, when Boogie says, I have to do XYZ scam to raise money because my medical bills are hurting so much, he can speak publicly about his medical issues to scam his fans to raise money, but he can't take $5,000 to privately confirm a diagnosis that he already publicly said he has. Doesn't make any sense, but
even I have a limit. Even I have a limit.
What's the limit, though?
I do believe there is a limit, 100%. In the context of what you've been doing for the past 5 years, accruing debt because you blew your money, selling your stuff because, you know, limit, sharing far too much with your audience to get more out of them, I'm inclined to believe that your limit is in a state of flux, and I fully expect you in the future to pucker your anus and show it to the world on OnlyFans as a form of content to raise additional funds. And then show everyone that one little medical record privately, so perhaps not everyone, so that Cancer2988 can have the full restoration of reputation and be called Boogie2988 once more.
It's a bad.
I understand that he, you know, there's a big history of people, I guess, scamming people with cancer, and it's like the worst of the worst. Sure. And you're getting confronted with that right now, when your response to that is,
Go ahead.
I'm not going ahead. Sure. I'm explaining to you.
Go right the fuck ahead. I don't.
I'm not going ahead with it.
He's speaking to you.
No, I'm saying run with the story. I don't care.
Part of me thinks the reason Boogie's saying run with the story is because that drums up additional interest in him, which in turn is free promotion for all that he does on social media. My concern is you risk, because of what you're doing, and you're too ignorant to understand this concept, you risk poisoning the well to others who themselves do fundraisers for those who have or are going through or recovering from cancer. You don't seem to think about that because it's always about you. And I understand that, but in this, something has shifted and people are questioning. If you want to debunk it, there is an easy way of doing it. There really is. And it even came with a price tag, tens of thousands of dollars, and you still hold a principled position, which in this instance can be argued to be less principled and more, this is the only thing I have private anymore and I want to keep it private. Is that because you sold your magic cards? We're going to carry on with the tweets because it leads to more clips. Muta, this Boogie story physically disgusts me. For the first time in a while, the internet has really shut me down for a minute. Nick Diorio, Boogie just said it's possible that his doctor lied about the cancer diagnosis for clout.
Next time you see your doctor, you just come out and say, do I have cancer? And he says, well, no, it could turn into cancer.
I guess that's possible, but I guess that's possible.
You're saying that's possible. A person that knows they have cancer would be like, no, that is not possible at all. I have cancer.
Well, I'm saying I do have cancer and know it is very unlikely, but I guess it's possible my doctor could be a quack. I guess it's possible he's been lying to me for clout. I guess it's possible that he's been giving me
I don't think he's lying to you, Boogie.
I don't need.
Drama alert. Fake cancer patient deactivates social media after Destiny exposed YouTuber Cancer2988 for allegedly faking cancer. Cancer is in the process of deactivating his social media. This would include his Twitter and his YouTube account. So he would rather, in this instance, deactivate his source of income than share something privately where he would make some money in the process. Now, I understand, again, how vitally important it is to maintain your medical records as private. When you've scammed your audience, though, this becomes a bit of a grey area, personally. I think it's vitally important to share, when it comes to fundraising, key parts of that information rather than just stating it and having people expect to believe that. Nick Diorio, It's So Over. Included is a clip where Metica features. I mentioned Metica earlier, didn't I? He's not a happy chappy.
Here's the thing, because I did a stream, because I had people saying, oh, you're faking cancer, Jim. So I showed my diagnoses and stuff like that. I'm going to guess he's working on a system similar to Epic, which most medical people do. You should be able to go right into diagnoses, and it's going to list everything that a doctor has ever said you had.
Yep, I just read it to him.
Okay, and so it lists the cancer there?
Yes.
Okay, so you could screen cap that and just show it. I mean, that's what I did, and then that would be the end of it.
Absolutely. And I made the decision 2 years ago that I would not do that, and I would rather leave the internet than to give the last shred of privacy I have left.
Considering your options away from the internet and the knowledge that you have very little in the way of income, your rewatchability has diminished significantly. I don't think you can hack it away from the internet because you don't have much to offer the workplace right now. Your best chance is LolCal Live. Your best chance is to keep making content and hope that you go through another rise. Because we don't know, owing to the nature of YouTube, if it is possible for someone like you to make a comeback, to be what you once were. Jim was very honest about this and shared everything. No one's questioning Jim on this one, but they are questioning you because of your stance being privacy in this one area. Yet you've shared all your diagnoses verbally anyway. Why is it so difficult for one screen cap to be shared privately with Destiny?
Well, no, and here's the thing. I understand the privacy argument.
I should have never went public with it.
No. Let me finish. I mean, you can redact information. There's no issue with that. But just showing, it literally is just a page that says patient diagnoses.
Yep.
And then it lists what you have. It doesn't tell you who the doctor is. It doesn't tell you what hospital you go to. It literally just says the disease name.
And I won't be doing that.
I'm going to have to agree with Metica here in this instance, in the context of Boogie, when he said the following.
But I don't understand why not.
And I agree with this because, again, you've shared so much. To now prove something, it seems important when you are taking money from your audience. You have taken money from your audience. You've taken it while using it, the cancer that is Cancer2988, to drum that additional finance up. Especially when you've cried about the medical costs on social media, some of which we've covered on this channel in recent videos.
Because he doesn't have cancer. He doesn't have cancer.
Yeah, that's going to be the narrative they'll go with. So that's the
well, no, I'm legit trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. When I shit on you for the crypto thing, man, I said I take your word that you had cancer. I take your word that the medical shit's expensive.
Yep.
So I this seems like
I spent 2 years treating a disease that doesn't exist. These people used to be my friends, and I genuinely would have never believed that it would even come to this.
I can promise you some of the mental gymnastics employed are only going to get better soon when we get to it. For now, we're going to continue with tweets. The quartering, Boogie, Cancer2988, faked cancer for clout apparently, and when caught, deactivated all social media. Thinking Monk uploaded 17 minutes 15-second clip with Destiny ambushes Cancer2988 in a video call with Keemstar and debunks his diagnoses. Now, of course, in this video we do not have the time to go through all of that, but I will link it down below if you're interested in watching. It is vitally important for context. Jessica Pizzle, I would drop all my lab results for $25,000. To be honest, I would too. And I've only got ones for a thrombosis. I had ultrasound and some blood tests, and that was from like 4 years ago. I didn't have a thrombosis. No, I just had a really sore leg. Nick Diorio. Boogie tried to pivot off the cancer stuff. So Cancer tried to pivot off the cancer to say he pinned down in the XGF and what he wants to confess. Remember how I mentioned mental gymnastics earlier? This is part of it.
I told one of these guys this in private. I'm not entirely certain. My very first girlfriend was physically abusing me. And so as part of my childhood, when we were 16, 17 years old, because she would hit me and stuff, I ended up holding her down. I ended up pinning her against the wall to make her stop hurting me and hurting herself. And I've carried tremendous guilt about it for my entire life. And I know as soon as I ever said that, it would mean that people would think I beat women. And so I've held it in.
I literally don't care. Nobody cares about that right now.
Thank you.
This is a deflection tactic to try and explain how we've all had struggles in our lifetime. Something which I understand why when one is desperate, they will resort to reach. They'll resort to deflection, projection, or to mitigate consequence. You are offered up to $50,000. Some people did offer that, by the way. They were trying to crowdfund it to get that kind of money just so you'd show one page of a diagnosis and that's it. And you said no, yet you scammed your audience, or tried to the tune of $10,000 last week for some crypto nonsense. But the wealthy crypto bros are happy to lose the money for the lols. Continuing with the tweets. Colossal. Cancer pig, after being exposed for lying about having cancer for 2 years and using it to promote a scam, decides to get naked on a live stream as a last resort. And this is not a joke, it happened. Yes, of course, I've blurred it out because I don't think you need to see that. Tipster. If you're willing to lie to your audience about having cancer for sympathy and money, you are a garbage person, period. While we can mock Tipster for many things, in this instance, he is right to say it, although I could have sworn he had walked away from drama. Keemstar. I just got off the phone with Boogie. Sorry, Cancer2988. No need for wellness checks. I can't say too much without leaking private information, but I will say that he has agreed to do a test for cancer at some point in the future that will be available to the public. Matt Jarbo underneath, at some point in the future, quoted, right now he's Googling cancer diagnosis documents. I wouldn't be surprised if they're printed out. Keemstar. In my 15 years on YouTube, I can't think of one popular YouTuber that's lied about having cancer. This is a new low. I don't know much about those who have faked it myself. This is one of the first times I've come across it, but I do vaguely remember hearing some names in the past. I just don't want to say them in case I get accused of being, a liar. I think Shani for Christ might be one. Keemstar also later tweeted a video out. Kicking Cancer2988 from LolCal Live.
I'm starting to see like a little campaign growing on Twitter for me to kick Boogie2988 off of LolCal Live show because allegedly he faked having cancer. I'm not going to kick him off the show. His punishment is being on the show where he can be confronted and held accountable for the shit he does. And we've been doing this since day one. In fact, this wouldn't even be happening right now if he wasn't on the show and being confronted with this. So yeah, his punishment is staying on the show. He can say that he's quitting the internet all he wants, but I will get him back on that show and we will confront him further.
Muta. Boogie when asked to prove his cancer diagnosis.
I have no knowledge of any of this. This is so bizarre.
In many instances, I like to take a very firm stance of innocent until proven guilty. The problem that Boogie, or Cancer2988, has here is Destiny has managed to spend a considerable amount of time debunking the claims from Boogie that would lend credence to the belief that his version of cancer he claims to have is not what he says it is. If there is a chance that Boogie can prove that he has, without compromising on his values, then I highly recommend he consider doing it. His reputation right now has been well and truly turned to dust. He has been all but castrated and is left a verifiable lolcow eunuch because he refuses to budge on one thing that doesn't actually mean as much as he thinks it does, because he doesn't have to show all his medical records, just the one part that matters most. I fully understand the importance of integrity, but over the past 6 years, Boogie has shown he has no integrity. So why this one thing matters so much is baffling to me, but it does lend to the belief that perhaps he is not telling the complete truth. Until he proves otherwise though, he's up shit creek, and there are no paddles in sight.